Eh? Okay. So, well, Mevon already introduced me and what I do. I have a lot of caps I wear. And everybody asks me, how do you do it? I just do it. I don't know how to say something. I don't want to make it look spooky because it's as, it's as real and normal as I look. There's nothing extraordinary that I can say. Of course, I want to also clearly say that whatever strength I have, or it seems I have, comes from God. For me, that's the first thing I like to put out there. I like to pride myself as somebody that is very intelligent, even though my first grade doesn't sound like it. But I like to pride myself as someone that is very intelligent. I think that God has given me some perspective into life that has helped me as a person. When I look back at myself, sometimes I'm wondering, how am I able to get to where I am right now? And all I can see is sheer God. Because if you go through some of the things I went through growing up, it will be what people take on as excuses not to move on. Especially in the world right now, where some of the issues are, they are rampant, they are everywhere. But then that's the reason why some people who want to commit suicide. That's the reason why some people are depressed. That's the reason why some persons are not successful. But then, for me, God has helped me. That spurs me on. I've been in consulting business for years. I'll try and tell my story so it will help you. I worked in the bank for a few years, and while I was there, from the first day I sat in front of the interviewers, people who interviewed me, and they asked me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I told them I want to be a HR consultant in 5 years. Even though I studied English language, it didn't look like where I wanted to go, right? So one of them asked me, why are you so sure that in 5 years you'll have achieved that? I said, because I know that I'm going to pursue it in 5 years. So one of the things I endeavored to do, and I guess when I started out on that road, God just decided to, help me take off on it, was that I kept moving from one unit to the other while I was in the bank. So it gave me a broad knowledge of a lot of things that happen in the sector. I finally landed in a department called Service Quality Department, where you work with every other department and ensure that they deliver on their service mandates. So that helped me to know what everybody does. Then I worked with another department called the Business Process Reengineering, and that also was where we were developing standard operating procedures for every unit and every staff in the entire bank. So you can imagine sitting with people and they are telling you what they do every day. They are just reeling out their activities. By the time I was done with that unit, I knew a lot of things. I knew risk management. I knew finance. I had an idea. I just had an idea of everything. And this was also that I have gone through marketing. One time, in trying to victimize me, so to say, I know the world is listening, they threw me to marketing. Even though I wanted to resign, but I'm so glad right now that I went to marketing, because sometimes you get to your Potiphar's house and you think that that's your destination, but you have to be thrown back into the dungeon for you to get to the king's palace. One of the things that can happen to you as a human being is to find your Potiphar's house early and to stay in it. That's not the destination, that's a distraction. So for some of us, we find comfort zones, or like he was mentioning how someone got rich early. He was able to circumvent some process. But you see, life, you must give life what it deserves per time. So you find that the process you circumvent, you have to pass it before you move to the next level. You can't circumvent process. Process is an integral part of being a successful person. It's process that will make you get money. Like let me use the Igbo apprenticeship system, for example, where an Igbo boy sits down and collects money but knows that this money is not his own and cannot touch 1 naira out of it. So that when he now becomes a system for him, so that when he starts his own business, he cannot touch 1 naira out of the business he's doing, even though it has now become his own business. That's process. Process does something in you. It births you. No, it rebirths you. You know, I don't know. I'm going to use scriptures. Forgive me. I was speaking with somebody I respect so much. Is my top mentor and coach, my husband, and he was talking to me about that scripture when he was talking about Joseph and said that the word tried him is in the Psalms. I think Psalm 105 or something. Psalm 100. I can't remember the particular chapter now. It says that the word tried Joseph and tried his character. I'm rephrasing it. That process he went through. It says he purged him in the Message translation. In King James it says tried. In Message it says it purged his character. Some of the things we go through as processes purges us. Because you need to probably learn some things so that you don't mess up when you sit on the throne. You need to learn how to be humble. So when you sit there and you see your brothers coming, you don't tell them, thank God you have entered my trap now. Shebi who sold me years ago, now I'm going to deal with you. All that happened to him through his process. And that is what, unfortunately, young people these days want to jump over. They don't want to learn the process. They want the shortcuts. Somebody said yesterday, it was so funny, but it was pathetic. It says, when you run too fast, you leave it too early. When you run too fast. Life is not a sprint. When you run too fast, you leave it. You get tired early. You leave it early. That's why someone like was this mighty man who conquered the world and didn't have what to conquer again. Not Julius Caesar. This oh God, forgive, help me. No, I know. Yes. Yes. He's a war guy. The one that he said, what he was asking his people, where do we need to conquer again? He got to a point, he died early. Guess what he died of? Malaria. It's pathetic, right? But he died too early. You know why? There was nothing else to conquer. Man was put on earth to conquer things. The day you cease to conquer, that means the day you cease to deal with challenges and overcome them, you are ready to die. Those challenges that you see every day, those things that hit you every day, are things you need to eat to move to the next level. They are strength for the journey. Those challenges you overcome, they are bread, they are adrenaline, they are sugar for the next battle. So that's why it's not wise to run away from challenges. You will not build character. You will not build patience. You will not build grit. You will get to Goliath and you will run because you did not kill the lion and the bear first. So it's important that if you look at the way, God led David, his challenges progressed. started with the lion. No, he didn't start with the lion. He started with his family. Then he moved to a lion. Then from the lion, he moved to a bear. Then from the bear, he graduated to Goliath. From Goliath, he graduated to Saul. He graduated to the position of a king. If David didn't go, if he didn't win at those stages, he wouldn't have moved to the next level. So every day is about facing a challenge, winning it, and moving to the next level. Every time you win, you are promoted. Every time you win, you are promoted to a new level. But I dare to say that the principle you use to win the first fight is not the same you use to win the second. And it's not the same you use to win the third. What got you here will not get you there. What got you here will not get you there. If you look at successful people and you want to follow successful people, don't follow them when they are successful. Don't follow the habits they make when they are now successful. Follow the habits that got them to where they are now. That is the only way you're going to know exactly how they got to where they are. A lot of times, young people want to start from people's harvest instead of starting from their own labor. They want to leave their harvest when they are supposed to be in the field. So you see somebody, and that's the craze of the world right now. You see all these stars on Channel O, on YouTube, and you think that the life they live now is what you ought to be living. It's a big lie. You ought to be living the life that got them to Channel O and YouTube, not the one that you saw on YouTube and Channel O. Because a lot of successful people play too. They play too. And why do they play too? They play too because they don't have new things. They don't strive for new accomplishments. One of the greatest things you can do for yourself is to always force yourself into new projects that will force you to learn new things, new skills, new character. Always seek for new projects that will force you to be better than the last place you were the last time. Now, I'm a project person. I love projects. I don't like routine. I get bored with them. However, I have to do them because that's what makes life successful, right? Because success has to be deliberate and intentional. But I love projects because there's this fresh energy it gives you. Like this fresh energy project gives you. It brings you to a place where, oh, there are new challenges. You know, I find people sit down at what do you call them? At interview chairs, and they say, why do you want to take this job? I want a new challenge. Sorry. I want a new challenge. I want a new challenge. I want a new challenge. What do you think they're trying to say? It's just a new fire. It's a new, how will I put it? A new push. A new horizon. Yes, the word is actually challenge, if you want to use that word. But it's something as is a new frontier to conquer. Because man is about conquering. It's a new frontier to conquer. It's a new demon to deal with, right? It's a new problem to solve. Something that you're not used to, right? Because it's exciting to conquer over and over again. It's exciting. You make progress as you conquer, right? So, I'll back up to my story. I finished from the bank, and the moment I got to 5 years, I knew I had gotten a lot. I done tailoring. I done customer service, marketing, service quality, business process reengineering. And don't forget that I had an idea of other departments while I was in this department. So when I came out from the bank, I wanted to move to HR when I was in the bank. But the then bank I was working with, HR was like, pardon me, the word I can use is like entering it, like before you can enter that place. You know when they say it's as hard as when the eye of somebody goes through the eye of a needle. The place was so hard to penetrate because they were so, it was almost like a cult. You had to belong to be able to enter into that department. That's the way it looked. So since that was the next place I wanted to go into because I knew what I wanted and they were not allowing me go into it, I decided to just step out on my own and started HR consulting on my own. It's what I knew. I started studying. It's very interesting to note that I started as a HR consultant when I did not have any HR certification. It was self-study, self-training, and then I did apprenticeship with somebody who was an HR consultant. I worked with her. She had projects. I followed her to the projects. Some of the projects I made sure I would stay with her through the project till the project was done. What was I doing? I was learning what I needed to know about HR consulting. I stayed there until I was able to start my own business. The moment I knew it was time, I moved out and I started my own business. I want to say that before that time, I had registered this company just when I was leaving the bank by 2012. But I did not step out in my company until 4 years after this time. I was working, I was doing some projects with her, I was getting jobs, but I knew it wasn't time to just step out on my own because I needed to know a lot. I needed to learn a lot. And so I stayed there and I learned a lot. And I was just following. And I was just looking like a hawk. I was watching her until I was able to step out. Now when I stepped out, it's so interesting to note that my first job was a training I did for FIRS. My first job. But at that time, I had learned all the ropes. So when the opportunity came, I was ready to seize it. And I did that job so well, that's when I started to get other jobs. Then I started training for NNPC, PEF, Petroleum Equalization Fund, and a lot of them. Started to travel out of the country for trainings and all that. Now, why am I sharing my story? I hope that you can learn in between the things I have said. Now somebody say, oh yes, so I started out well, so how far? I did not say that challenges did not come, right? In the midst of it, I set up a good business. I set up my company, one of the jobs I now got. I became a consultant to a state government in this country. And I was their HR consultant. We restructured the company, restructured the entire parastatal. It was a state government parastatal. And I came into some money. Then I set up my business. And you know how you just come into money and then you say yes. So when I tell you that you get to your Potiphar's house, I went through it too. I got to my Potiphar's house. And then I started feeling like, oh, I'm not a consultant to a state parastatal, you know. And then I was not concentrating on getting other clients. The clients was massive. I mean, sometimes I was out of town for like a month, 2 weeks, working. So because of that, it was overwhelming. But I didn't see beyond myself, because I mean, it was my Potiphar's house. It was comfortable. All the millions were coming in a job. I could make like 4, 6 million, 10 million in a job. So, and in 1 month, I could do like 2, 3 of those kind of jobs. So what am I looking for? What else? Which client am I looking for? I don't need the client. Do you understand? I set up my office, which is presently where I still am till now. I set up my office, set up a training center. Feeling like one. Then Potiphar's wife struck. Nigeria and government changing and all that. So the government at the time that we were working with changed. The moment the government changed, everything came complete. All my jobs were stalled. I started getting issues. They started talking about, who is this lady? Why is she the only one that's been getting all the jobs? All the works came up. And then suddenly, my job stalled. It was suspended. All our projects were suspended. We had like 3 projects going on at the same time. We're going to set up a performance management system for the parastatal. We're trying to draw up their standard operating procedure for the organization, which had over 159 staff. So we're going to be working with everyone and developing standard operating procedures for them. Now, this is aside other businesses that we're bringing up, hotels that we're springing up, microfinance banks that we're starting from that parastatal. So, everything we were supposed to work with them. Suddenly, everything just stalled. And then it dawned on me that I had been building on rubbles. So, for a length of time, it was now hard to go back. You know how you have been getting jobs of 20 millions and the millions, and then suddenly you have to come back and you're looking for trainings of 200k monthly to keep bills, to keep the bills paid, and then you're looking for, just tell my team, see guys, we can do this. Let's go and get 5 hotels that will train. Even if it's 100k they give us monthly, we'll have 500k, so that at least we can pay salaries and save for rent. There's something I don't like. I can't deal. I don't know how to owe. I don't like to owe people, and I don't like to owe salaries. So it was a major headache for me, because at this time, even the jobs we had done were waiting for some payments. That payment, except it comes out tomorrow. Maybe when they see me online, they will pay me the money that they are owing me. But that was how the payment stopped. They didn't pay us the monies of the jobs we had done, and then we now had to start all over. It was the hardest period of our lives. But you know what? Every day we show up at work. Show up, I'll push my team then. I had some very wonderful staff, even though we parted ways. You will hear the story. We parted ways badly anyways, but at the time, I'm sharing some of my pitfalls, so that when you get there, you will know that, when you see people, they all have their scars. The scars make the stars anyway. So I started having to ginger my team. Let's go and get trainings, 5 training. Let's just hit. You see, even if let's enter by freely first, then we'll give them. Even if they say 50k for training, let's just get money coming in. And then I had a training hall that suddenly, because we were not even in town to pursue business, we were always out of town. The state where we wasn't Abuja, so we were always out of town. We didn't even have a good grasp of Abuja town. So we came back to the drawing board and started planning again. Then my staff, who were used to chilling, were used to projects, were used to traveling, and I had to tell them, guys, we have to market. And then one of them tells me, which was my right hand person at the time, told me, I can't market. That was not, it's not my strength. So whose strength is it? As in, do you want this company to succeed? Do you want us to get out of this water? She said yes, but she will be drafting the proposals back office. We should be going out, or I should look for somebody that will be going out. Well, to cut the long story short, that relationship went south because for a long time I couldn't pay salaries, I couldn't afford it. And then within that period, I think about 2 years, I was owing on my rent, my office rent. I kept trying to pursue the job we were doing in the States and get our payments, but none of it came through. And then we are here, and then people who are supposed to work with me as a team are saying, Madam, not only you, come, follow, come, carry your cross. So we had to go back to the drawing board. I had to go back. I was thinking, at that time, you pray more. I will lock myself up in the office. I'll be praying, God, you have to do something about our finances. We can't be here. You know how you have touched money before, you have seen money. You look at your account, money has entered, and then suddenly you can't even see 5K entering your account. And at that time, I focused on building my relationships in one place instead of spreading my tentacles. Most of the people I was dealing with was top down, not down up. I don't know if you understand what I mean. I was getting consultants to train. Come, do trainings with me, do jobs with me. But I wasn't building relationship down up. It's very important for you to build relationships on all levels. Top, middle, down, middle, and then middle up. All that level of relationship, you have to find a way to build it. There are some persons that will be lower than you. You have to build relationships with them because one day they might begin to work somewhere and they will bring you on board on those deals. And then you have people who are your contemporaries who you will meet maybe at jobs, at conferences, and I advise that people do that. Go for conferences, go for trainings. There are networking periods and times. Go for things like this, mentorship classes. You'll meet people. You never know where they'll be tomorrow. The next thing, when you have those relationships, and they have to be effective relationships. It's not like now when people will say, oh, they don't talk to me, I'll not talk to them. This I am, and all this nonsense. It's poverty that is talking to you. It's because you don't understand that your network is your net worth. If you understand that your network is your net worth, you will not be doing, she didn't talk to me, so I won't talk to her. Duh. All of us, everybody close your place. Most of the people who sound like that, their parents are still paying their bills. They're still in school, they're still in university, or coppers who are still getting allowance. When you have to hit the streets and you have to do that, you cannot, for example, I can't go to somebody I know as a starter. Most times when you're starting business, people will buy you because they know you. A lot of people, even people in your circle, will watch you until they are sure that you are the real deal. For 5 years, you might be doing business and they won't come to you because they want to be sure that you are stable. So you need to know that networking, having relationships is very important. Putting aside competition and envy and putting it aside. One of the things I wanted to talk about here is gaining mastery of what you do. One of the ways you can cut out envy is by gaining mastery. If you are good at what you do, you won't be envying another person. The person you are envying by the side is because they are showing you what you can be that you are not. The person you are competing with is that they are showing you something you can be that you are not. Rather than envy and compete with them, dig your heels. Hide yourself. One time I read one book, I read it every year, Signpost on the Road to Success. You should read it, by E.W. Kenyon. That book spurs me on every time. Sometimes I read it like 3 times in a year. When I feel that my zeal is driving down, I'll pick the book and I'll read it again. Because it teaches you that you can be your own slave master. And by the way, my own book too, it will help you as a business person. It's life slants. I call it life slants. They're just nuggets that will help encourage you and build you. But this thing I'm talking about, gaining mastery, is what will help you to focus and refuse to be distracted by the Potiphar's and the Potiphar's wives. Gaining mastery. So, back to my story. I know I'm jumping in and out of it, but I'm sure that what I'm saying will make sense, or is making sense to you. So I had this staff who was now disgruntled because I couldn't pay salaries. And somebody said, okay, so what were you doing with your money, all those monies you were making? I'll tell you what I was doing with it. I'm a church girl, right? I was sowing seeds. I was sowing so much seeds. Even my profits was my seed. I could do a job and give it all away. Now, I'm not saying it as a downside. It's just that now I have a better way. I can still, imagine if I use all my capital as a seed, right? As a business person, I can still I can keep my capital and it still bring me more seeds. So if I eat my capital, I don't have anything to plant. So I had that problem as well. I didn't have financial discipline in my head. I didn't know a lot about money matters. It was only after this I started, studying about business analysis, business financials, and then I saw where I made the mistake as a business person. So I went back to the drawing board. But at this time I had a disgruntled staff who felt, after all, we used all our money to be sowing seed, right? And then 2 years I couldn't face. I told them, I begged them, I said, go home. Please don't work for me anymore. Just go home. When we're ready, I'll call you back. They were like, no, they'll stick with me through it. Through thick and thin, they'll stick with me. 6 months. We're getting trickles of money, but the money, this was another mistake I made. Christian church girl. When I go to do trainings and they give me my money, right, or they give me the, what do we call it now, the fees for training, I'll now divide it and give them for the week. Like I'll give them allowances for the week. Sometimes at the time, some of the trainings were like 50K. You go and you get 50K. So from 50K, I had 3 staff. I had 4 staff. I would give them 10K every week. Do you understand? I will give it to them. I'll just tell them, just hold body till we're still following up on our money, and we're still expecting. At this time, I was chasing jobs. And it was prospects, right? So it looked like things were going to happen. And then the salary kept building. Unpaid salaries kept building. Unpaid rent kept building. Bills kept piling. Everything. The only thing, God was merciful. The only thing that happened was, in the midst of it, the first thing that happened was that we got this bank who asked us to outsource marketers for them. So, because we outsource marketers, they pay us monthly. It wasn't so much, it was 10% of the salary of the marketers. But you know that 10%, it was like a drop of water in a desert. Some of the monies that were coming to us as a company from them is like 30K in the month. But that 30K, hey God, we'll use the 30K. I'll pay the security because I don't, imagine passing through your security and seeing their eyes because you're owing them their money. I'll pay security, I'll pay lights, I'll get, pay water bill, just to keep afloat for a bit until things get better. And then one day I came to the office and I realized that this can't work anymore with my staff. I would talk and she would talk back. She became my boss. I'll tell her to do something, she'll tell me she can't do it. Okay, so what I know is prayer. What I know can get us out of here first is to pray. The person I can run to is God. God, I made a mistake. Or God, I'm here. How can I get out of this? So I will tell her, let's go and pray. And then she'll tell me it's not part of her job description. Okay, it's not part of your job description. Now, at that time, she was my personal assistant. Being my personal assistant means that you go wherever I go. Whatever touches me, touches you, right? Because you're my personal assistant. That's what it means to have a personal assistant. And then I will tell you, let's go and pray. I tell you, I cannot come and be telling you to go and pray. It's not part of your job description. You didn't see it anywhere. I say, okay, no problem. So one day I came to her and I told her, all of you, go home. Don't stick with me through it. Just leave me in it. Let me go and sort myself out. When I'm able to get out of it, I will start. But I want to assure you that as you go, like how Lot left Abraham, and then God said, from when you stand, and as far as your eyes can see, that have I given you. That was exactly what happened. Because the moment they left me, which brings me for Christian businesses, one of the things you don't want to do around your company is what I call strife. Strife stifles the environment. You come and everything will be tight. Your finances will be tight. If you have anyone in your company that propagates strife, sack the person. Tell them we cannot move together. Because strife is how you open the door for the enemy to come into your organization. And I was coming to this office every day where, when you're talking to people and you're just meeting a wall. And I just told my husband, excuse me for some time. I need to settle some destiny issues. When you get to that place, like Hezekiah, where you need to feel it's between you and God. And then I locked myself up. And when I sat there, suddenly pictures came. Is it not so interesting how when you go to God and say, God, I don't have rent, God tells you, did you see that company I want you to start? Hire 50 people. I don't know whether it has happened to you. You go to God with a problem, and then he tells you, he sends you on an errand that is bigger than your problem. What he's trying to tell you is that I don't see you through your problems. I see you as the person I need, the overcomer you are. He's giving you new perspectives and pictures to not see yourself as a failure, but as a success that he made. So I started getting jobs. People suddenly actually remembered me. Some of my colleagues would call me, but if you still a train, come and do one training for us. That's how the 50,000 started coming, the 100,000 started coming. Do you know, I was going to do a job, or I had done a job and then I was waiting for the payment. Like, the payment was supposed to come on Monday. And then this staff of mine called me on Friday and said, you have not paid me my salary. And I said, yes, I've not paid you. Can you just give me till Monday? I'll get some things across to you. And she told me, is that what I have to say? Anyway, she wanted to tell me that she wants to sell off the laptop, the company laptop I gave her. That because she's in debt now, she needs it. So I told her, so sell it. Sell it. If it will help your problem, sell it. Just let me know how much you sold it for. So, because at that time I knew that we were already getting to loggerheads from her tone. Sell it, let me know how much it's going for. Then I can deduct it from the pay I'm owing you. She went and sold it. I sent me a message. I said, even the laptop was not worth anything. I just sold it for 15K. I said, okay, no problem. It means 15K off what I'm owing you, right? No problem. So, it's so amazing how when you make mistakes or when you are at a downside, people are ready to bury you more. So I told her, don't worry, just give me till Monday. I should get money across to you. Do you know, Monday morning I just landed at my office and then I got a court. I was served papers from a lawyer that I was owing salaries, calculated the number of how much I was owing her. That's this same stuff. How much I was owing her and all that. So the first thing I took the letter to my lawyer. Always get a lawyer, no matter how small your business is. Get somebody that can help you. Get somebody that can advise you. I went to my lawyer. They say there are two people you can't lie to. Your doctor and your lawyer. Let me add one more, and your pastor. They are the ones that are going to help you. Why will you lie? So I went to my lawyer. I said, okay, see you later. What do I do? And then he told me, tell me about her and how you worked with her. The way God, I'm a HR consultant, right? I'm a process person. I like process. I like structure. Like, it's what I live for. It's what I do for companies. But for this stuff, I didn't have any structure around her. She didn't have an offer letter. She was the only person that didn't have she was the one person that didn't have an offer letter in the company. Because she was the next to me. She was the one that always issues offer letters. So when I brought her in, she was not a graduate. She had not done clearance in school. She had some outstanding, so she had not done clearance. She was still supposed to go back and do clearance, but she was already working with me. So because of that, we did not have a staff file for her. So when this issue came and I got to the lawyer, I told the lawyer said, do you have an offer, a contract agreement with this person? I said, no, I don't. He said, that's the first problem. She's not your staff. See how God saves people. She's not your staff. She can't hold you to anything. Now backtrack to like a week before this letter came to me. She sends me a message and tells me she's about to apply for a company. They need a letter of referral from me. What should be in the letter? She said I should write in the letter that how long she worked with me, what she was doing and how much she was earning. And I should write in the letter a recommendation that she should be hired. I did not know that all this was a setup. Since she didn't have an offer letter, she needed a letter to take to the lawyer that will serve as an agreement or as a contract agreement that can be used against me in court. But this was how God delivered me. When they brought the letter, first of all, she called me. I was like, she really needs the letter. I told her, you know what? Write the letter and send it to me. I'll sign. The day they were bringing the letter to me, they brought the letter squeezed. I don't sign squeezed letters. So when it came to me, it was folded. I said, you guys know me better than this. I cannot put my signature on a letter like this and they will see my company name on it. Go and rewrite this letter. This was a Friday morning and I was traveling. Go and rewrite this letter and bring it for me on Monday. And then she told me, the lady that brought it to me told me, she really needs it, it's urgent. I said, then if she needs it, she should write the letter and sign. She knows how to sign my signature. I gave her that consent at first. If she can't wait for me till Monday, then she should sign the letter. She knows how to sign my signature. Before that time, she signs my signature for me, which is another mistake. So she went and wrote the letter and signed and took it to the lawyers. So when I told my lawyer, I said, lawyer, I did not sign any letter. They should check the letter and check the signature and see. They should go and cross-check whether it's the same signature with my signature, because that letter is not me. It's not my signature. She actually doesn't have a contract letter with me. Then Before she came, she had issues with accommodation and I had to get rent for her. I had to give her money for rent, which I did not deduct from her salary. I gave it to her as dash. Then in the process of this, one time she lost someone and then she needed money. We didn't have money at the time. She came and met me and told me, can we sell the office generator? I said, sell it. So I just wanted to do everything to get out of this debt because I don't like to owe. Sell the generator. Whatever it is, let it help you. She sold the generator. She was the one that went and negotiated with the person. Came and told me the generator was sold for, let me give an example, 70k. I said, okay, can the 70k help you? Let's start from there. I gave her the money for the 70k. Then all those monies I was giving them every week as allowances, I usually do it through my bank account, and then some of them were cash. So by the time we looked at everything I had given this girl over time, she was owing me. Plus the company laptop she took and refused to return and went to sell it. It became a criminal case against her. That's how God turned my story around. I got out of that, but I promised never to enter that kind of shit again. And that was how I moved on. I started all over again. We started all over. I started taking training gigs. Some of them free, getting into organizations, started meeting people afresh. And then the next day, before long, I was back to training NNPC. I was back, everything just went back. See, my rent, somebody said, how did I deal with my rent? My rent built up to like 4 years because it took me like 4 years for this process for us to get out of all this. But you know what? Every day I go to the office, I show up, I go to work. I never said I got depressed and then I locked myself up. I can't die. I have to solve this problem. Do you understand? I would go to the office every day. I would go and pray. Because what you need to get out of trouble is grit. It's no cowardice. Running away from the problem will make it go away. Drinking it away will not make it go away. You drink and your eyes will be clear and the problem will still be there looking at you. But finding your way out of it or giving your way out of it is the problem. And sometimes giving your way out of it means doing things for free. Means giving back to people for free. And that was what I did to get out of that situation. Before long, I went to meet my landlord too. Brought me a letter from his lawyers. I went to my lawyer again. Lawyer, how do we respond to this? My lawyer said, how can you pay? I said, okay, now, at this time I started making money. So I said, lawyer, I can pay 500,000 every other month based on the way things have been going for me right now. I said, okay, let's write him a letter and say, this is how much we're going to be paying every month. What you can do is take me to court. We can go to court. When I get to court, I'll tell them I can pay 20,000 every month. So I sent him a letter. I apologized for not being able to pay the rent. I gave him a payment plan and told him this is how I plan to pay this money. And in the next 2 years, I'll be out of this. Anybody, as I sit here. I say anybody because the stuff I thought I was owing, by the time I calculated all my welfare monies I was no longer owing her. So, I can say that I'm not owing money again. I got out of it. Right now, I am the MD of 3 companies. The third one I just registered. All of them are thriving and they are doing well. Rare Virtue Consulting is a HR firm. Leaders Court is a leadership firm. And then Treasure Hills is a project management company. We handle projects. Everything that has a beginning and an end, including constructing roads. So that is my story, right? And I've seen my pain points. I've made sure no more will mean I was done with. I wasn't going to get out of the trouble. Now that's my story. So when you see me, I tell people who fresh and upcoming, you need to master your act. you need to have grit, because the business environment, especially in Nigeria, is not funny. Double taxations everywhere. People are AMAC is chasing you, everyone is chasing you, you have monies to pay and all that, right? But then, if you don't have grit, you run away, you run out of the business. Grit is one thing you need as a business person, is that you might fall, but don't stay in the mud. Get up and try again. Every opportunity when you wake up, every day you see the sun, of winning is greater than the person that sat at home and refused to enter the ring. So it means your probability of being a champion is 99%. That 1% is left to you. Show up. And show up well. Show up mastered. Don't show up as somebody who doesn't know what he's doing. Show up and show up well. Show up well equipped, so that as you show up and an opportunity is given to you, you can seize it. And you know what you're doing. You have to know how to master your art. And then you have to have grit. Because problems will come, or problems are what champions eat for breakfast. I think I've poured a lot.
Wow. This is pathetic.
Things we say as young people is that you need to find your passion. You've heard that, right? Find your passion. Let me just debunk it a bit.
I suppose you.
One, passion is not innate. Passion is not innate. Passion grows. Passion can be discovered. So that notion that, oh, I have someone, for example, who tells me, when I was telling her about the job, and then she told me, Mama, I just want, right now at my age, I want to do the job I'm passionate about. I said, wow, interesting. Do you really want to tell me that Dangote found passion in selling salt? Is that his passion? Or sugar? Or spaghetti? Was that his passion? Sometimes what you are passionate about can't feed you. It can't feed the nation. So rather than stay there, like I said, passion, people who say that and stick there are for people who, they still have somebody dashing them money.
I met a 42 years old girl who said it's passion, that I should sponsor him to you, not to play for. I don't know what I'm telling you the truth.
See, there's nothing like a right job, in quotes. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it. Do it first. Breathe. Get out of water. Then when you finish making money, and you have money to chill and be sipping margarita at the Maldives, use the money and come and pursue your passion. Because while you are wasting time, their lives are tied to you and your discovery that you are wasting time about, because you are following after a myth called finding and pursuing your passion. Some people are not working right now because they've not found their passion. That is laziness 101. Yes, that's what they told us. That you need to be passionate. See, when money starts coming out of that thing you are doing, you find passion. Your passion will follow it. There are some persons that are passionate about bringing people out of poverty because of the poverty they suffered. So you see that passion it can change.
You know, when I was younger, I thought my passion was to entertain people. But I felt like it's very funny. So if I notice that you have not done this thing before and you met me, I want to be the first to do it. Just to quick it. So everybody have to
Passion can change. You know, one of the things that I realized in recent times that has been exciting for me was the course called emotional intelligence. In studying emotional intelligence, I realized that everything I am, everything I do is dependent on me. God has laden us too much, with so much, to leave our destinies at the hands of a third party. Your destiny is in your hands. The only person that can stop you is you. It's what you're doing. It's how you're doing what you're doing. Life, happiness, sadness, depression is a choice. Forgive me, but it's a choice. I'm not being, how will I put it, unsympathetic towards people who are depressed. I'm telling you things I've been through and conquered. I used to be someone who was prone to depression early in life when I was younger. But one day I realized, like the Bible says, if you are tempted, do not say that it was God that tempted you. It's because you followed after the lusts of the flesh. You lost it. The time you fell was not the time you fell. It was the time you started accepting it in your mind. So it means that every decision you make is a direct on your mind, on what you accepted. On what you accepted. So I can choose. Emotional intelligence teaches me that there's a space as a human being. God gave us the opportunity. It's only animals that don't have the space to take a decision when things happen to them. They just react. Only animals. For us, the way the human brain was built, you're supposed to have the opportunity to decide whether to react or not, or to respond. That's the way the human brain is wired. So when you're there, maybe you met a 419 guy and they are telling you, just pay this money, and he's looking like, oh, do or die, take a walk. Don't be quick. Anything that Maza spirit, anything that comes to you at Maza, is not from God. See, God, in his infinite mercy and as big as he is, made man and gave him the opportunity to choose. If you want to go to hell, God will support your right to go to hell. He will help you. He might not help you directly, but Satan will help you and God will be there and you'll still be God.
Even Satan is working for you.
Yes.
It's because of Satan, that's why I'm in trouble. It's actually working for God. It's even the biggest ever.
So you see, don't be quick, don't be hasty to make decisions when you are pressured, when you are angry, right? Or when you are too in love. You know that state of love where you are and your head is no longer correct.
Yeah.
You are knocked. The brain has knocked. Just take a step back. Try. Look for people, and that's why you need mentors. That's why this, particularly for me, it's a good forum. That you're here means that you want to go somewhere. Because the reason why you have mentors, I always tell my people, is so that you don't make their mistakes. You start from their successes. They will tell you things that they will not say in their books. You will catch things that they did not teach you. And then when you're in trouble, you can reach out to mentors and say, help me look at this with a second eye before I take a decision. Rather than just go headlong and go and do something that you have no idea about. So you don't have a pre-existing passion. You don't have a pre-existing passion. So people feel that God has been coming and God made them to be speakers. You you can train yourself. There is nothing that cannot be learned. Nothing. There is no skill that cannot be learned if you're focused. You don't have a pre-existing passion, right? Now, becoming really good at something and generously using your skill to help the right people is how you quickly succeed. Everything that feeds man, everything that helps man grows. Don't start anything with the need to make money. Start anything with the need to help people, and money will follow you. No matter how many moi spots you have, every moi spot is unique. And there will be people tied to your moi. They like the taste of your own more than the other person. But bottom line is that you are helping humanity. You are helping man. Anything that helps man thrives. They kill chicken every day. They are not extinct. But dinosaurs are extinct because they were eating humans. That's how God made man. Man is too powerful a being that if you put your life to help man succeed, you will do well. Money will follow you. Value. As you give value to people, money will follow you. The earth will seek you out. Because Joe Polish wrote, life gives to the giver and takes from the taker. Don't be a taker. Be a giver. In your little spot, there's something you know. Don't discount what you know. There's something you know that the next person needs that you can give for free, and it will still be you adding value to people. Life gives to the giver. Can you imagine? That's why the rich always keeps getting richer and the poor keeps getting poorer. Because to the poor man, he keeps taking. But to the rich man, they find avenues to give. Right? So, passion is not innate. When people say that they want a job they are passionate about, it's because they are selfish. They are less concerned about what they can give the world. What they want is what the world can give them. Those are the people that say, I want a job that I'm passionate about. It's because you are a taker. But find somewhere that there's no value and start giving value in that sector. And see that you are a giver, and then life will give you, life will pay you. Because we need to know that this life runs on principles, laws. Have you seen that statue? Did you realize that it's blind? That's how laws are. Laws are blind. They don't follow emotions. It's not how you cry at night. It's not even trying to jump into the lagoon. Jump in, you die and go and meet your creator. And God will still be God. And people will still live the next day. So that's why you need to realize that life is about laws. Find the laws and live by the right laws. And your life will be easy. It will look as if you are jumping through booby traps because you know the laws of life and how to live them. And one important one is self-mastery. Then relationships. Build relationships. Build network. Forget about people's shenanigans. Look past them and build relationships with them. If you keep looking at, oh, this person is like this person is like this, you will never have an effective relationship. Because even you are flawed. Everybody is flawed. But somebody is living with you as a wife or as a husband. Yes. They look past your mistakes. They look past your weakness. And they choose to see your strength. See relationships like that. Invest in relationships. Be that one that when you call them, they cannot but pick your call. The only way that can happen is because of investment. That there's something about you that the person knows that you're not coming to take from him. Anytime they see your call, it's not because you're asking for urgent 2K. They sit down, they can look in their wardrobe or look around them, and there's something that you have invested into their life that they can say, Melvin gave me this thing. So because of that, if he calls me, I'll pick his call. He adds value to me. He doesn't devalue me. That's how relationships work. Add value to relationships around you. And I told somebody yesterday, I'm going to say, at any relationship that you have gotten into and you know that is the right relationship, fight for it. Fight for your relationships. When I say fight, I'm not saying cut corners. I'm saying do everything to protect what you have. Because people want, even Satan want to steal it away from you. Because that is one way he can destroy you. When God wants to help you, he brings men into your life. When Satan wants to destroy you, he brings men into your life. Men is God's method, and Satan has stolen it. If you're going to enter a cult, it's somebody that will introduce you there. And if you're going to meet God, it's somebody that introduced you to him. Here on earth, man is God's method. So if that can be God's method, then don't take for granted men. Invest in relationships. You're going to see your mentor. Go with something. I'm not just saying something they will eat and forget you next tomorrow. Something tangible they can always remember you for, that adds value to them. Invest in your relationships all around you. Mid to down, mid around, and mid top. Invest in your relationships. Once you can do that, life will be easier for you.